What's up, everybody? It's Jaryn from Virtual Bike and Board, and this is everything you need to know about Stage 9 of the 2023 Tour de France. Whew. Interesting day today. 180K with 4 categorized climbs. The big thing today was the Puy de Dôme. It's a big volcano. At the end of the stage, it was an HC climb. It's the most important kind of climb. It's the hardest climb in the tour. And today was 13 kilometers at 8%. Now, there's something important about that 13 kilometers at 8%. That right there would make it the hardest. But the thing that's actually crazy about it is the 8% is the average over the course of the entire climb. This climb actually was between like 10 and 14% for the last 5 kilometers, or the last 3 miles. So if you watch on TV today, it was like these guys are in their smallest gear just grinding at the very end of a long day to try and get to the top. And it was like a snail's race to the win, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So a little bit of other things about the Puy de Dôme, which is kind of interesting. It's an old volcano, which is kind of cool. And there's this really interesting thing about this road is that it's so narrow as it just kind of winds up to the top, so that basically the climb's 13 kilometers. For the first 10, you had fans, tons of them. Tons of fans. It was crazy. And then the middle section, it kind of plateaus a little bit, and the fans cleared out. And the last 5 kilometers, it was empty. They didn't allow any people on the last part of the climb because the road was too narrow and it was going to be too dangerous. So it went from crazy, loudest thing you can possibly imagine, to virtual silence and just guys just pedaling their way. I don't know. It was funny. But anyways, what a day for the North Americans. Initially, I had this video as what a day for the Americans, but Michael Woods snuck in there at the end, and he's from Canada. So a couple things about these 3 riders. First, we have Matteo Jorgensen, 24 years old, Boise, Idaho. No, Tour de France stage wins or anything like that. He's on Movistar. Their tour spontaneously combusted on the first day when their main GC guy went down and fractured his kneecap, I think it was what it was. So their hopes were over until this kid goes in the front today. The next person I want to talk about is Neilson Powless. Neilson Powless, he's on EF Education First. He's been in the polka dot jersey pretty much the whole tour, and he's got an interesting tactic for that. He's not the best climber in the tour, right? Technically right now he is, but he's super smart. He wants this jersey. So what's he doing? He's going in every single breakaway when there's climbing points available, and he's getting them like 1, 2, 3 points at a time. So he went in the breakaway as well. And the last guy is Michael Woods. He's from Toronto, Canada, and he's getting towards the end of his career. He's 36 years old. He's got some wins, but no tour stage wins. If you're a pro bike rider and you're a road racer, I mean, a tour stage win, it doesn't get any better than that. It's like 15 to 20 guys in the breakaway, and they're working together, and they go in the first kilometer of the race. So they're right up the front, boom, breakaway, and they're cruising, they're having fun, they're working together. They get 15 minutes on the peloton, which is crazy. There's a reason this can happen today, and the reason for that is there was no GC contenders in that breakaway, so no overall winners in the breakaway. So teams like Jumbo and UAE, basically those 2 teams only, they'll let it go because they don't really have anything to lose for the yellow jersey. They don't care about the stage win. Maybe Tade does, deep in the back of his mind, but realistically they want to win the stage. So breakaway goes, they're off all day long, they're working together. But even still, when you're in the breakaway all day and it's 20 guys, you still have to work. Whereas when you're in the peloton, I mean, they're working, but they're not pulling. Guys who are going to go for the climb, like Tade and Jonas, aren't doing any work in the peloton. They're pedaling their bikes, but they're not breaking the wind. So all these guys in the breakaway are pretty tired. And the thing about this breakaway where it starts to kind of break down is about 30 miles to go, or 50K to go, they start attacking each other. One guy goes, and then they bring him back. And then as soon as they bring him back, the next guy goes, and they bring him back. And then the next guy goes. And they're doing this because they want to get to this climb with less people. If there's a breakaway at 20 and there's 3 climbers in that group, they want to get away from those 3 climbers because the 3 climbers, regardless, are going to win. What ends up happening, the attack that sticks, is Matteo Jorgensen, the Americano, different Americano. He goes off the front and he holds him. He holds him for like 25 kilometers all the way to the base of the Puy de Dôme, and he actually holds him a really good amount of way up the Puy de Dôme. We'll get to that in a second. But basically, he goes, it's Neilson, Mate, Mohoric, an Astana guy, and Pierre Latour, I think, was in that chase. And Nielsen's going for the points. He looked strong. He actually was following a lot of tags from whatever guy it was. I'm getting mixed up at this point. But those 4 are staying together and they're staying strong. You got Matteo Jorgensen out in the front, and they're all they're not really gaining or losing any time. And then we get to that really steep part, that last 5 kilometers that I was mentioning, and Michael Woods comes out of nowhere. He's not in the chase group. He's in the second chase group, the original breakaway, and he motors, boom, and he plows through everybody, through Neilson Powless's group like they're standing still, and with with less than a kilometer to go, he catches Matteo Jorgensen and takes the win. And your heart breaks a little bit for these guys who are out in the breakaway all day, I have to say. But like at the same time, Michael Woods, he's getting towards the end of his career. He's 36 years old. Matteo Jorgensen's like 24 or something like that. He's gonna get his win someday. So it was nice to see Michael Woods take a stage, but I wanted to see Matteo Jorgensen, the breakaway from the breakaway, take the win today. So that was that. Nilson Powless got a few polka dot jersey points. There was 20, I think, at the top. I think he ended up getting 6 because he got like 5th place or something. Not terrible. Could have been better. The big climbing days are going to be tough for him because the GC guys are going to get all the points. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but he's doing great. Shout out to Nilson Powless for being an absolute savage this tour. He's busting his ass, and it's showing. He's still in the lead. And then there's a second bike race. This is what's so cool about the breakaway getting away than the GC guys on a climb day like this, is that they finish and you take a second, take a breather, take a leak, do whatever you got to do, and then the GC guys are on the bottom of this Puy de Dôme climb. And what happens? What we predicted. Jumbo's in the front, UAE's in the front. They both have a few teammates. And we're going up that climb, and then Sepp Kuss is in the front. So for Americans, or North Americans, I should say, today we had Michael Woods, Nilson Powless, Matteo Jorgensen, Sepp Kuss. I mean, it's so awesome to see American cyclists in the tour and being like real players in the tour. Yeah, it's been a while probably since like the Lance days when we really had this many guys up there. So chapeau to the Americanos. Sepp pulls off, and we got the dance. We got Tadej and Jonas, and they're kind of looking at each other. And I didn't actually think neither of them was going to attack. I think they were just going to ride up together, and they were going to get to the top, and no time was going to be had. And then Tadej goes, and Jonas can't follow again. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. It's so interesting how this is happening because Jonas seemed like the clear favorite in the beginning of the tour, and he must just be getting tired. I mean, they've got like 40 hours of tour time in the legs at this point. Tadej's got the momentum, at least mentally, which has a huge thing to do with it. He ended up getting like 10 seconds or something on Jonas today. Jonas is still in the yellow, but we got a bike race on our hands. Besides that, tomorrow we got a rest day. I'm ready for it. I think everybody's ready for a rest day. It's been so amazing to follow this tour so far. It's probably been the best first week of the tour in years. I can't remember when it's been this good, especially with the GC guys. So great job with the tour for setting it up like this. Tomorrow, ride your bikes. I'm gonna ride mine. Like I always say, if you like the content, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, run up for distance, run up for time. Thanks for watching.